Having been winners of this league before, how do you feel about this season's mid-table performance?
Well, I mean, I was actually running the reserves last time when we won the league, and as you know, was managing then. Yeah, there's no getting away from the league. It's been disappointing. Got to put the cup aside really, and it's been, we've been up and down. We started pretty well in the league, and then we just had a mid-season slump. We couldn't really get out of it, and we seem to have hit blocks of we'll lose 3 in a row, and then we'll hit good form, and so we've really got to address that really, because it's just not been good enough, and I think we'll look back on this season and we'll be pretty happy we've won some silverware, but it'll be tinged with disappointment in the league performance.
Do you think there's any specific reasons why you haven't been challenging at the top?
Yeah, there's quite a few. Yeah, I think there's mentality within the team, especially after the cup final. Before the cup final, we won 7 out of 8 league games, and then after the cup final, we obviously won the cup final. And it was on a really good run, and lads were putting in 100%, etc. After the cup final, I can't honestly say that. I think lads dropped off. The mentality of the team got a bit like the deck chairs out, if you like, and again, that's got to be addressed. It's not good enough. I understand it happening a little bit. It happens at all levels. That when a team wins a cup and then they can drop off, because you build up to that cup final, and it's tough to get going again. But we had something like 12 league games left, and we had to get going again, and I forgive 1 or 2 games, but then going into 4 and 5, it's really hit us, because just before the cup final we was 5th in the league and we would have been up challenging, and again looking for specific reasons. Easter came very, very early after such a bad winter, and we had 12 league games left, when normally cup finals come and you've got 2 games left to finish off max, or sometimes it's even the final game of the season, so you do build up to that cup final, and lads are building up and playing to it, but we still had a third of the season left to go after that, and so it's not an excuse, but it's a definite factor. Yeah.
Personally, who's been your signing of the season?
I think there's been a few of the young lads that came in, I think are going to real push on in the future. I think something like Jack Hines has been really good. He came down as a local lad. He came down to us. He only lives in Woolston, just round the corner from the club, and he was banned at the start of the season, and then he started with the reserves. He worked so hard in training that you could see that he had something in terms of his work rate, his mentality and his strength that he had going in. He would be an asset to any team, and so it took him a while to get himself settled in the team, but Jack Hines was a real plus, and again I think he'll be a real plus going forward for this team. I think he might end up being nailing down that right back spot for himself, or even moving into centre half at some time in the future, because he's got that real strength. And then also Danny Wilcox as well. Danny Wilcox came down, local lad. He scored 46 goals I think for 5 last year, and he came in, and that's what we're after really. Real local lads with hunger and that desire who are going to push on, and really want to nail down spots in this team. But I'd say them 2 really, looking at the signings. But there's also somebody I'd like to mention who came through, who got high hopes for, is Neil Glendinning in the reserves. Neil was, he sort of crept up on us really. He came down close season, played a lot of time in the reserves, and we left him there to complete the reserves winning the league. But we've got our eye on him really for the future, because he's going to be a top player.
So it's safe to say you're pleased with the youngsters that have come in?
Definitely, yeah, very pleased with some of the youngsters. We've got our eyes on 1 or 2 more. We're looking to come in for next season. But yeah, I still think some of the lads are nowhere near the finished article. There's lots of hard work to be done with them, and not just the young lads. All around we can all improve. That's going right the way to from the older lads in the squad. Obviously, with the league position shows that we need to improve. But yeah, I am pleased with the young lads coming in, and I think they've been a breath of fresh air really. Yeah.
So what have you learned most this season about being a manager?
Well, I've learned there's no hiding place in this league. If you don't turn up with the right attitude, you'll get found out. Yeah. And I just think that we've on too many occasions we haven't quite had the right attitude, and in terms of just work rate and endeavour, you know, just the basic really of football. If you don't turn up with that in your locker, you'll probably go home and get beat. And that's not everyone's not been like that. You know, there's been some lads that have turned up like that all the way through the season. But you only need 3 or 4, you know, not turning up with that right attitude. And it's a tough league, it's an unforgiving league. And I've managed in the reserve league before, and this league's got real quality in it. I definitely think this league's improved this year, and maybe that's hit us on our league position. So, yeah, I've learned quite a lot. It's been a real challenge, you know, and obviously we've learned how to win games leading up to the cup final, how to win a cup final. I think then we all as a group need to learn how to grind out results when we're not playing so well, and how to win games when you're not playing so well, because football's like that at this level. You've just got to.
Yeah. So with the reserves having such a good season, do you see many of them becoming first team players with our future?
Yeah, I do, and it was difficult for us really towards the back end of the season. I'd say in that last 12-game period when some of the first team lads had knocked off, you know, put the feet up for the summer if you like. It was difficult because we had these chats with Webber, and you know, ideally I would have liked to dropped in a few of the lads who were really, you know, banging on the first team door. I would have liked to bring them in, and you know, and then it picks the lads up in the first team to think, well, hang on a minute, I might lose my place here, etc. But that never happened because we couldn't really do it, because we really did want to leave the reserve team strong to finish the job in winning the league. So, but it doesn't go unnoticed, and towards the back end of the season when the midweek fixtures came round, I got to then go down watching quite a lot of the reserve team games. I speak to Webber every single week anyway about it. Webber's at training, I see these lads at training anyway. So there's definitely some lads who'll be coming into the first team. They'll be pushing into the first team fold this year because there's a lot of quality there, and that bodes well for the future really, because you need that. You need that. If you've got a first team squad, and you might lose 1 or 2 with, I don't know, work, you might go to other, you know, to other teams, etc. You need them lads filtering up to replace them, and not only that, pushing the first team lads as well, because I definitely think 1 or 2 got a little bit complacent in the place in the team, and if there's someone that's, you know, banging the door down and winning the reserve league as well as they won it in the reserves, then they need to come up, you know, they need to come up and push these lads.